Welcome to the Spotlight Series. I'm your host, Scott Nerney. We are at the wonderful Cowesett Inn. The bar's hopping, the music is playing, the game is on. Stop down, take a look at everything we have to offer here. Fantastic food. And speaking of music, tonight we have Jim Davidson, who is putting together the URI Guitar Festival. We want to hear about that. But first, let's talk about you personally, a little background on yourself.
Thanks for having me on, Scott.
Sure.
I'm a guitarist who's kind of worked and lived throughout New England for the past maybe 20, 25 years, something like that. I went to elementary school in Rhode Island, moved to Massachusetts, started playing the guitar, got my degrees in it, and ended up moving back down into this area, which is how I sort of teamed up with a lot of the Rhode Island guitar community, such as Adam Levin and Kaylee Connors and Victor Main and whatnot, and that's led us here to this festival.
So when you say you majored in guitar, what type of music style really impressed you to learn?
Oh, so I guess I started with, like a lot of classical guitarists nowadays, as a contemporary guitarist. I mowed lawns for a summer to pay for like my first electric guitar when I was 12 years old, kind of thing. Yeah, so I tried to self-teach for a while, and I was big on a lot of rock bands. I remember Queen being a big one for me as a kid.
Sure.
But I got a little older and started taking music a little more seriously and thinking maybe I'll do this for a living someday. So most of my options for education required me to play classical guitar, which I certainly wasn't opposed to. It was just very new to me as someone with like ELO and Fleetwood Mac in the house a lot. But I took to it. I really fell in love with it and took it very seriously through college, and it sort of set me on a new career path.
So if you just picked up one of your favorite guitars in the house, let's say it's acoustic, and you thought, well, I'm just going to play a few riffs of something just to kind of flex the fingers
Sure.
and get in a good mental spot, what typically would you play these days?
Oh, I'd improvise.
Yeah?
Yeah, I tend to just make something up when I play. After classical, I went more of a jazz background, and I've always loved improvising and making up my own thing. I might take a scale or think of a technique that I'm working on or that I want to develop, and a lot of the time I'll come up with my own thing right there on the spot. Or I'll occasionally go through some common piece of repertoire, whether that's a Django Reinhardt solo or maybe something by Tárrega or Albéniz or Sor or Bach even, sort of the standards of the classical repertoire. So,
Do you recording in the background when you're doing things to kind of say, oh, that was really cool. I got to remember that.
Yes, yeah. Recording at home is amazing for you as a musician.
Yeah.
Just self-awareness, knowing what you need to work on is half the battle with an instrument. And there are things I will acclimate to doing. If you make a mistake 75 times, you kind of forget it's there. And when you watch the tape and you see it, and it's really blatantly obvious. It gives me a lot of focus in my playing. I really practice with purpose. So I try to record my playing when I can, when I have the chance to. Although a lot of it I would never want the public to see. Sometimes let's play it faster than I ever should. And I listen to it, like, well, that's what that sounds like. Moving on.
And do you write as well?
I'm not so good at it.
Okay.
To be honest with you. I used to write a little more when I was younger, but I guess I got more into sort of the jazz and classical performance practice of improvising or working around pre-existing music. In jazz, you take a standard and you solo over it, or you render it in maybe a new way that hasn't been heard. And then I suppose the other thing about those cultures is perhaps an appreciation of tradition, the ability to render a piece of music, to interpret it in the way another artist has, and to see if you can do so faithfully. That's artistically satisfying in its own way. It's like an actor in a script. It's not just the actor in a vacuum.
Well, and I see, people think a lot of the award shows, or I say award, I mean the reality shows. And, here's a famous song, and they'll play it. Oh, well, they didn't play anything close to the original, but then at the same time, they could be yelling at someone, well, you didn't make it your own.
Yeah.
So that fine line, I applaud you for kind of walking in those dangerous steps to do both.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So let's talk a little bit about the URI Guitar Festival. I'm going to throw a spoiler out there. It's not just guitars.
Not even close.
It's not just a festival. It is at URI.
Yep.
So let's get some details. When is it?
October 21st through 24th, I believe.
Okay.
Um,
And when we say URI, it's on campus?
yes, primarily. I think we have one event at the Pump House I believe it's in Kingston, Rhode Island.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
And where can people get tickets?
On the website, uriguitarfestival.com.
That's a nice one. That's a good job to get that. Yeah, nice.
Competitive domain, you know?
So let's talk a little bit about what people could expect.
Oh, man. It is a musical potpourri. It really is. I suppose there is sort of a nucleus formed by the guitar. You know, a lot of these topics are satellites to the guitar in the sense that there are things a guitarist would appreciate studying. But that also means even if you don't play the instrument, there'll be some great things to experience there. First off, there's the concert series. We have incredible artists playing every single night, traveling from all over the world. We have players visiting from across the United States, from Spain, from Thailand. It's truly an international event. And then, well, I guess I could continue with the concerts a little bit.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, we have some. Our artistic director and the founder of the festival, Adam Levin, just has a brilliant knack for just having a vision for a program and for a festival to find something that can be appreciated in the traditional sense while also doing something completely new. Having Simone Shaheen and Bridget Kibbe, for instance. Simone Shaheen is, I would fairly describe, the best oud player in the world. He's incredible. I think he lives in New York and he teaches up at like Berklee College of Music in Boston. And then Bridget Kibbe is an incredible harpist who also plays a lot of repertoire, which is intersectional to the guitar. So, you know, even if you're not a harpist, it's very cool to see a harpist play a guitar piece. And to, going back to our previous subject, like to interpret a piece in a new way that can perhaps be appreciated by both types of audience.
And is there instructional pieces as well?
Oh, is there an instructional element like at the? Yes. Oh, yeah. So participants take part in master classes where they get to think of it almost like a group lesson where 3 or 4 performers take turns getting up and performing for the teacher in front of a live audience. So everybody benefits from the experience. So almost all of our major concert artists are teaching master classes. This means for participants, it's the opportunity to study, to work with, to get feedback with some of the best guitarists and especially string musicians in the world. And then what I do for the festival mainly, along with my colleagues, Victor Main and Kaylee Connors, is we're launching a new youth guitar program this year, the Rising Stars Guitar Program, which is new for this year, which is like a 2-day sort of intensive program for developing guitarists, sort of upper elementary through high school age. We do topics on musicianship, on technique. I kind of get to play the cool uncle and show up and do the rock guitar stuff.
Nice.
You know, I'll show them how to play with a pick or how to solo over a blues. You know, like there's musicianship, especially like in a classical lens that we work on. We have a lot of classical guitarists who participate, but it's broad, which I really like. Caters to students of all different backgrounds and levels. And then there's a performance element to it. So Victor Main has actually arranged a whole bunch of music for guitar orchestra. And at the sort of end of the festival, on Sunday, we have a big community concert, and all of the youth guitar festival participants get up and we perform a piece together, or a few pieces. And we record it and live stream it, and it's a wonderful event for them and for the families and all the festival participants.
And how many people are attending, do you figure, on average?
Well, we hope a lot.
Pre-COVID, yeah. Absolutely.
Well, I would say last year the concert filled the URI Chapel. So if we include audiences, it's hundreds of people.
Fantastic.
I would say I don't know what this youth program will affect. You know, we might have a lot more younger students this year than previous years, but I would say you could reasonably expect 100 people to be involved. You know.
So if people are out there working in a guitar center or a music, or some of the teachers out there across the state that may teach music classes or have music students in their class or after school activities, they should definitely take a look, give you a shout, and see how their folks could participate.
We would love to have guitar educators throughout Rhode Island and New England at large involved in the festival to bring their students. Frankly, even the teachers could probably get some value out of participating with the level of the concert artists we have teaching and performing this year. But yes, I think, especially with like younger, like learning students, getting out and getting involved in a community related to a hobby goes a long way, right?
And there's great networking opportunities as well.
Sure.
That you may find there's someone right in your own neighborhood that you just weren't. If a kid was going to a lower public school, but there's a couple of kids in the neighborhood that went to Hendricken or down in Exeter, where just across the line, you could meet people, and all of a sudden now you're expanding your horizons and opportunities.
I agree completely. I think that Rhode Island has a very strong, very healthy guitar community, and by getting all the guitarists to meet up together and get to know each other, I think it strengthens that community. I think it improves a student's odds for success, for keeping with an instrument and fully realizing their abilities on it. It's nice to meet kids who are at the same level as you, who have the same ideas and goals maybe, and like anything in life, just to get along with them in that way.
Yeah.
So yes, I think that if you are especially a young developing guitarist, but really any guitarist, an aficionado, even if you don't play, if you just love the instrument, there's something at this festival for you.
So Jim, where is it? When is it? And what's the website?
So the website is uriguitarfestival.org.
Okay.
It'll be hosted primarily at the University of Rhode Island, although we'll also be having, I know of at least one event hosted at the Pump House Music Works in Kingston, Rhode Island, I believe.
Okay.
Besides that, most of it's on campus, mostly at the Fine Arts Building on URI campus.
Okay.
And the when is October 20th through 23rd. So it runs from a Thursday to a Sunday, I believe.
Wow, nice.
With
That's a lot of different days.
Oh, yeah. With our youth program running on that Saturday and Sunday.
Okay. So, Jim, there's a few things that I saw when I was looking on the website that were guitar related, but totally unexpected. So let's talk a couple of things. You had some builders coming in to talk to people, a few other, what I would say is unexpected, that people would really love to see.
Oh, yeah. So we typically have like a sort of a luthiers expo that we have. A luthier is someone who builds string instruments. So we'll have guitar builders visit, sometimes from all across the country. They set up booths, or they'll host lectures to talk about guitar building and its history. Some really fascinating stuff. The science of it, the physics, the materials work, the acoustics, and then of course the cultural elements of it. Actually, the people who built my guitar, Alan Chapman and Jeff Fisher, are going to be there. Very dear friends of mine. Wonderful, personable, folks that I'm sure would be great to hear from. And then I know that a reputable guitar manufacturer, Alhambra Guitars, based in Spain, is going to also have a booth at the expo, and they're going to host a guitar tasting where we have one of our concert artists from the festival perform across their entire line of instruments, and then you can go up and ask questions and try out the instruments yourself and that sort of thing.
Because playing guitar, all guitars play the same music, but not the same pitch, not the same style, the comfort for the person using it. I think that would be incredible to see the same person play 7 different guitars that are perfectly tuned and get the different feel and how they're comfortable and how they're made. Really, it would be like kind of walking down the assembly line of an incredible tour.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. Guitars can be real Swiss watchmaking sometimes. Like you weigh the top of a piece of wood and it's X number of grams, and you shave off like a 20th of a gram off the top of it, you end up with a completely different instrument. They're really one of a kind. No two guitars sound exactly the same, even if they're built to the exact same specifications. And then, yeah, there are stylistic elements. What sounds people like? There are guitars that might be brighter or warmer, or that are louder, or that might have a wider range of color. And I would certainly agree that having them all through one player as a control allows you, the listener, a unique experience.
And the people who built your guitar will be inspecting yours very closely to make sure you've maintained it.
Every time anything at all happens to my guitar, I'm calling Jeff, going, "Help me, please!" And they're always like, "What? Why is it always you, Jim?" You know? No, they've been wonderful about helping me take care of my instruments, despite my best efforts.
And if they're listening to this broadcast, you would be willing to accept sample guitars from them to play and
Yes.
take home for 4 or 5 years?
Oh, I'm going to have to catch up with them and say, okay, show me the new ones.
Yeah.
You know, it's always nice to see the family growing.
Yeah, absolutely. 4 days, obviously, some people commute locally. Some people are going to come from all over. If someone's thinking, I just want to stay in the general area, have you worked out some agreements with local hotels?
Yes, we've been lucky enough to build a relationship with the Hampton Inn and the Fairfield Inn, both in South Kingston. My understanding is that they offer a discounted rate to festival participants so that they can have a nice, very short commute and be able to attend the entire festival. Although, of course, if people are commuting, as many are, attending any of it would be good. You don't necessarily have to go to all 4 days of the festival.
Okay.
So yeah, the first night is just sort of almost a welcoming party. We have some live music, serve some food, everyone gets to meet each other and set up for the week ahead. And then we jump right in the next day. We start with master classes, technique workshops in the morning usually, and getting into stuff like private lessons and ensemble coaching. So I believe festival participants also get private lessons as part of this. Going into the afternoon, that leads to the concerts themselves, who are sort of the feature events each night. It's where we have all kinds of major artists, whether that's Simone Shaheen on oud or Bridget Kibbe on harp. We have the legendary Andy McKee coming in on guitar, one of the sort of all-time great American fingerstyle guitarists right now. We have, I know, another night, an evening dedicated to the music of the Spanish-Cuban composer Eduardo Morales Caso, who Adam Levin has a great working relationship with. My understanding is there's going to be a world premiere of a new piece written, which Adam will be performing. So it's a fantastic musical diet. I wouldn't say that, besides the opening day, I wouldn't say that they're particularly distinct from one another, except for the unique nature of the concerts, which are very different from one another, you know? Oh yeah, and that's the other one, right. The closing night, you'll actually catch me playing. We're doing a special sort of group project called Sessions, which we're in the process of recording to put into an album. And Sessions is where we take traditional music and standards from around the world, whether it's the music of Java or Japan or the Middle East or the United States or whatever, and we arrange them for a string ensemble of guitarists, luthiers, mandolinists, all of the above. And we have all of the big concert artists come together and they record and they contribute solos to it. And this will eventually show up on an album. So it's sort of a big hurrah at the end, and the audience gets to be part of this really cool process.
And on an album.
Yeah, exactly. So, in closing, I would say this is a wonderful event, the likes of which I don't think we've really ever had in Rhode Island. Kind of what started as a plucky little festival 5 or 6 years ago is now at parity with some of the biggest guitar festivals and events in the country and in the world. It's a unique musical opportunity and a cultural opportunity for anybody in the area, whether you're just an aficionado or a lover of music, whether you've never picked up a guitar in your life or it's your career and your life's work, or you're just casual or whatever. I really think that it's a wonderful festival that offers something to everybody.
So Jim, some people may not be able to make all 4 days, or may not be. They may be otherwise engaged, not be able to make it to Rhode Island. So will there be some highlights online, or can they see the festival?
I can do you one better.
Okay.
So one thing that since the pandemic we've taken quite seriously is virtual accessibility. So since last year, now including this year, the festival is entirely in a hybrid format, with the exception of the youth program. That's strictly in person, but the rest of the festival, you can either audit or participate in person or online. So yeah, so we set up the technology so that even if you wanted to master class with some reputable concert artist, we have the technology set up right there on campus so that you can hop in on Zoom and still participate in this festival, even if making it to Rhode Island is difficult for you. So yeah, whether you just want to watch or you want to participate, and whether or not you're capable of traveling, there's an opportunity for you there.
Or if someone can only go to 1 or 2 days, but could stream another day.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yes.
So people could really get to see everything, some in person, some online.
Yes. I think it's a good value in that sense, right?
Sure.
Sometimes you go to these huge events and there's so many things going on that you can't make it to all of them, and you feel like maybe it was a wasted opportunity in a sense. You want to not necessarily get your money's worth, but you want to get what you can out of the experience,
So would they find tickets at URIGuitarFestival.org as well for the virtual?
Correct. Yeah, all registration just goes through the website. And then we email out the links maybe the day before, the day of, something like that.
Okay. That's awesome. Fantastic. We'll be big fans. Looking forward to hearing great things, and hopefully we'll get a few more fans out there for you, and a few teachers, and some more youth, and expand the program again next year.
Of course. And you guys got to come down yourselves, Absolutely.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you
Thanks
for
so
coming
much.
on Spotlight Series.
Pleasure.
Thank you.